What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the SomeWhatSports Podcast. My name is Chris, and this is a first this week. It's a special episode for the wrong reasons. For the first time ever, Jurg will not be joining us. That's right. Jurg is off doing what winners do. We won't disclose that information, but he's doing what winners do. He's a champ. He's a warrior. He's off riding to the sunset. He's like Tom Brady for the week, of course. But that means that the other two are stuck with each other. So it's going to be me and Dame this week. I know the fans, quote unquote, have been waiting for something like this. Dame, how are we this week?
I'm doing all right considering that I have to deal with you by yourself instead of Jurg being in the middle, helping me out a little bit. But of all the time and hard work he's put in, he deserves a day off. I know I've had my plenty of days off, so
Yes.
he definitely deserves one.
So have I. That's right, Jurg. Take your time, brother. I know you'll probably be back next week. He was already itching to be back this week, man. Like that's the kind of trooper he is. But show must go on. The sports world moves. And Dame, there's a lot to talk about this week. So, since there's no Jurg, there's no hockey. And I think it's been a while since we've talked basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Has it? Yeah,
There's nothing to talk about with basketball right now.
That's true. But we are leaning towards the All-Star break, which is soon, and the trade deadline, of course, is about a week away. Literally a week away from today's recording. So moves we think are bound to happen, but it has been so dry on that front that there is not much to talk about here. No Shams bombs, no Woj bombs, nothing. The only trade that did occur was the Knicks trading for Cam Reddish, and
Was it even a trade at this point? Like, we don't know.
I don't even know. Is Kevin Knox playing for the Hawks? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, look, we're all calling for Tibbs' head. You know what? I don't want to go off on a tangent because I could go off about Tibbs being an idiot for weeks, but I'm not going to do that. So there's not really anything fiery at this point. So I guess there have been a few rumors, and when there's smoke, there's fire, if that's the right phrasing, I believe. There was an article that came out from The Athletic yesterday, I believe, about Bradley Beal. Not, he's not demanding a trade, but I don't think he would mind it, which is the first time I've heard that. Look, we've been talking about Bradley Beal trade rumors for a while. I mean, it's hard to see him going anywhere before the trade deadline. I think it's likely in the offseason. But I think he can be an unrestricted free agent this offseason. I think he can. That's what I've read. So, Dame, this is difficult because I know there was those rumors about Bradley Beal going to Miami a few years ago, but Miami stood their ground. They kept their young assets, and to be honest, it's paying off for them. So Bradley Beal, I guess, quote unquote, in trade rumors. Now, look, we've talked about this for so long. The Wizards need to blow it up, and I do think they have some decent young pieces to have a foundational core going forward, and then you add that to whatever package you would get for Bradley Beal. I don't think they'd be in a bad position, to be honest. I don't, because I think Kyle Kuzma has actually been playing decent for them for as much shit as we give him, especially me and especially you as well. But Kuzma's been playing really well, and then you have young talent like Rui Hachimura, who just came back. You have Corey Kispert. You have Denny Avdia. They wouldn't be in such a bad position if they traded Bradley Beal. Am I crazy to think that?
No, I don't think they would be either because, like you said, they have developed that kind of young core. Obviously, maybe Kuzma they got in that trade, but guys like Ryu, guys like Denny, guys like that, they develop kind of within their own system and player development. So trading a guy like Bradley Beal, you're obviously going to get massive players or picks in return that you could then either get young players in return, like I said, or you could develop those draft picks into your own young assets as well. Then you have a really nice core, and then you just got to hope you hit on a couple of them that become really stars, and you could then become a contender that way.
Yeah. They're not in a bad position by any means. It's just that they've been stuck in the mud for so long, and I think they're outside the play-in picture right now. They're half a game above the Knicks, which is not good considering how well they started the season off. But yeah, the Wizards need to blow it up. So I was thinking about it, bro. The only realistic trade package I could see at this very moment is Beal for Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're the Wizards and like you're eyeing this rebuild, do you really want Ben Simmons? Like I know Ben Simmons is like young, but I don't know. It's just the Simmons fit with them, and I think he would actually like help the development of guys like Kyle Kuzma and Corey Kispert and Rui and all of them because he could be that main facilitator and like have those guys grow offensively, especially. And you would bring an element of defense, but I don't know. I feel like Simmons to the Wizards would be so weird in my opinion. But Beal to the Sixers, look, I
That's
know
a
they're
perfect fit.
perfect fit, but I don't know. I feel like Daryl Morey's holding back because he wants Harden, which I
Yep.
think
Yeah.
like I don't know. The Harden situation's like you know a mystery in its own because now there's reports saying that he wants out. It's quiet, and I think there's some truth to that. Now, look, we don't like the Nets, so we're hoping it does happen. But yeah, I think Beal for Simmons makes sense for both parties. I just I mean, at this point, Simmons just wants a new team, so I don't think he could. I don't think he has the audacity to bitch about where he goes. Um, but yeah, and Beal would be, I think, perfect next to Embiid. It would be hard to envision because it's been a while since we've seen Beal be the number two to a number one offensive option, and last time that happened, there was always reports that him and John Wall would always go back and forth with each other. So yeah, I mean, could he accept Embiid being the number one guy in Philly? Because I don't know, Beal doesn't strike me like Beal's a little bit egotistical, and I know a lot of star players are, but he's gonna have to adjust if he goes to Philly. But I mean, what do you think of that trade package, Simmons for Beal?
I'm kind of with you on that. I just don't know how much Ben Simmons fits. And although obviously Ben Simmons is the better player in what I'm about to say, I wonder if the Wizards may be more enticed in a package of like say Maxi and Thibault headlined with like a couple other players and a couple more draft picks instead of just like Ben Simmons and maybe like one draft pick or something like that. I wonder if the Wizards be more enticed by a package like that instead of bringing on a guy like Ben Simmons with such a big contract and all these kind of problems around him off the court. And that's just me. I wonder if the Wizards maybe would think of a package like that would be more beneficial for them than just a Ben Simmons swap.
I mean, I would definitely go that route. And I don't think I feel like they're not gonna. They seem to be very high on both Maxi and Thibault that they're not gonna get rid of
Mm-hmm.
them. Like they're apparently untouchables. And props to them for thinking that because Maxi is whew,
It
yo
should have been a Nick. I know the Knicks
yeah
traded up to go get him, and then this Sixers just swooped him. That's why the
yeah.
Knicks traded back.
But IQ isn't a bad consolation prize.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if I'm the Wizards, I would personally like prefer that package of Maxi more
Mm-hmm.
because like that could be your starting point guard of the future, especially after these Spencer Dinwiddie reports are coming out. And I'm so glad this shit is happening. Spencer Dinwiddie thinks he's so much better than he actually is, and now there's reports saying that like the teammates are sick and tired of him. He's not playing well with Beal apparently.
He got the
I
triple double yesterday, though.
who Spencer?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like 14, 10, and 10 though. It's like a baby triple double.
I don't know. He just thinks like he thinks that he's smarter than he actually is. It's like
Mm-hmm.
he's a good player. Spencer Dinwiddie is a good player, but like it's just it feels like he thinks that he's the biggest man in the room, and like that's not like you're not a number one option. And I feel like he thinks he is like a number one or number two. When in reality, at most, you're a number three option. Um,
Yeah. An interesting spot for Beal that I was thinking about. You mentioned like the fact that Beal might not kind of get along with Joel Embiid as being like the number two option.
uh
But it's like say hypothetically he went to the Celtics, and we all know he has a good
mm,
relationship with Jason Tatum. A Jalen Brown package with Bradley Beal could work. You reunite. You give Bradley Beal one of his good buddies and Jason Tatum, and then maybe he won't be as annoyed or dissatisfied with being a number two option next to Jason Tatum, or they kind of could be like a 1A, 1B instead of like what he would be in the Sixers, where it'd be clearly Joel Embiid would be the one and Bradley Beal would be the two. So I think that could be an interesting situation where Bradley Beal could want to go to and could be a lot more happy in the situation and the role that he is put into.
yeah, I could totally see that. I just don't think the Celtics are giving up Jalen
Yeah,
Brown.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's just Celtics are the Celtics, but just for Bradley Beal's sake, I think that's something he would most likely prefer compared to the Sixers.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, man, Tatum and Beal. I mean, that would be. Oof. I mean, like it's not like Tatum and Brown hate each other. Contrary to what
Exactly.
reports like try to make it seem. I don't think they hate each other, but I do think Beal and Tatum do have that chemistry because they've been boys since like high school or some shit. Wow, yeah. I mean, wouldn't happen, but I mean, I'm all for it, right? It's just the Wizards they're not really in a hey, they're kind of in a tough spot, but it's just like it's clear that they should move on from Beal, but I get it. It's an all-star. You want to, you don't want to like strike out on the possible package that could possibly, set forth your future. You don't want to botch that. So I get it, but they've had years to think about this, and I mean, time's running out in my opinion. All right, who else is in trade rumors that should be talked about? Because I mean,
I just listed two teams, the Kings and the Pacers. I think they were two teams that are really
mm,
in trade rumors and like being willing to shop a lot of their players. And they do have assets, like say the Kings, obviously De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes, Marvin Bagley, guys like that. And you have the Pacers was a bonus. I seen they asking for a lot for Justin Holiday, which is absolutely ridiculous. But then you have Karis LeVert, Malcolm Brogdon. Like these are teams that the Kings are kind of ass, but the Pacers are kind of like in the middle, and I guess they're going for a full rebuild because they just know they're kind of stuck there. But these are two teams that I think I think personally the trade deadline is going to be kind of boring, but I think if it does get active, these are two of the main teams to watch out for because they've been reportedly actively looking to trade a lot of their pieces and kind of go for a full rebuild. So I think these are two teams to look out for. I don't know. I don't have any predictions as to where kind of these players could go. I would love De'Aaron Fox to be a Nick,
well, we'll talk about
but
that. We'll talk
but
in.
yeah, these are like I said, these are two teams that I think could make the trade deadline interesting.
Yeah, Pacers I think should be sellers. I think their plans kind of got thwarted because Miles Turner got hurt, and I think he was the number one guy that was going to be shipped out. There was always discussions about Miles Turner to the Knicks, and I was like, I mean, Miles Turner's a good player. He's a solid stretch five, but the package that the Pacers are expecting, and I get it, you always want to like start off with the big package and then like you negotiate and it'll be like even playing field in terms of like what you want to offer. But the Knicks being where they are, Miles Turner seems like a player that you would trade for if you're making that playoff push ish that we fakely thought the Knicks would make. But that's not happening anymore. He's hurt. I don't know where they trade him to. It would have to be a team that could afford to wait for Turner because he's going to be out for a bit. Um, Karis LeVert, I think, should be gone as well. Brogdon, you can't trade until the offseason, I believe, because he just re-signed his contract this season, so he can't get traded this year. Um, Karis LeVert, I think, would be really good for the Cleveland Cavaliers, who
Mm-hmm.
they need a guard, a backup, like scoring guard, in my opinion, because Sexton's out, Rubio's out. Rubio's been playing really well this year, but and Rondo's a solid, backup playmaker for Darius Garland, but they need a backup scorer, and I think Karis LeVert could definitely be that. Cleveland seems to be the real deal this year. Crazy. They seem to have. They're the Knicks of last year.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good
but
comparison.
but they don't seem like fakers because they have a legitimate foundation with Garland, Mobley, Jared Allen, Isaac Okoro, even Laurie Markkinen will put up there. But yeah, I think Karis LeVert would definitely be good for the Cavaliers. I just don't know who they give up.
I didn't think of the Cavaliers as one, but I think that's a really good option. Off the top of my head, can't really think of one other. The Cavs, I think, are probably the best choice that I could think of, honestly.
What about the Hawks?
The Hawks,
But who
yeah,
would they
but
trade
like,
though?
but they just kind of just traded Cam Reddish away because they had no space for him. Like, where are you gonna really put him?
Like could be a back. Who's their backup? I mean, yeah,
Hoarder, Bogey, like, you playing behind him, and like, what assets do you really have to give away?
yeah, you're right. And if anything, they're trying to accumulate assets because they want to
Yeah,
make probably a big splash. Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. Their asking price I heard was like 2 first rounders for Karis LeVert. I was like, all right, y'all are bugging now, but I think they'll eventually settle. It's just the Pacers are in such a weird position because like a lot of their stars and Sabonis is like 25, Turner's like 25, 26. Bro, even Chris Duarte is 24. Like they're all like in their mid 20s. They don't have like that young foundational piece that they could build off of. But it's the Pacers. Like they've always been that fringe playoff team. But they look like they're looking at that rebuild. But their season's clipped. They'll probably get a high draft pick, and that'll be their young guy going forward. Who knows? All right, so let's talk about the Sacramento Kings. And I think this will be like the last topic before we move on. Um, Dude, I thought it was tough being a Knicks fan, but they played the Kings, I think, a few days ago. Bro, dude, we know they sucked, but Jesus Christ, man, they are really trash. They're really trash. And I think it was like 3 years ago when Dave Yeager was their coach. They were like ninth place. I really enjoyed the way they played because they had an identity. This like young, fast, speedy team with De'Aaron Fox running the charge, and then they surround him with shooters. And I'm like, yeah, finally, the Kings look like they're figuring it out. Ninth place too, just missed the playoffs. I think this is before the play-in tournament. I was like, this is, Kings look like they're figuring it out again. Then I think they fire Yeager. They go back downhill. They hired Luke Walton. Things are a mess. So De'Aaron Fox has been in trade rumors, and I remember after they drafted Davion Mitchell, I think we all agreed that was like, well, Davion Mitchell's he's a fine player, but we're like, damn, how many guards do they? That's 3-point guards, literally 3-point guards. With Fox, Tyrese Halliburton, and Mitchell, like that's insane. So I was like, yeah, De'Aaron Fox's future is up in the air once they drafted Davion Mitchell. Now Fox, I think, is in trade rumors. There was a report that's saying, no, we're not. We're going to build around him and Tyrese. I don't think that's, I think a trade offer got thwarted and they just like tread backwards saying, no, we're not doing that. But I think De'Aaron Fox will eventually get traded. Harrison Barnes needs to go. They need a full firing, bro. They need a fire sale. Trade Barnes, trade Bagley, trade Heald. Heald is just,
Yeah,
man.
he's been in the trade rumors for like 3 years now. There's nothing's going on.
Yeah, and I was like, he's the perfect, like, if regardless of which guard you want to build around, which is either Fox or Tyrese Halliburton, they both need like a shooter, like that go-to sniper. And I was like, Heald could be that, but like they just don't know how to utilize him. And granted, Heald is like a really good shooter, but he's also terrible defensively. It's just Sacramento Kings are really all over the place. I think ultimately they're going to build around Tyrese Halliburton, which they should. They re-signed Rashawn Holmes, and I think Rashawn Holmes he's a really good backup center, right? I don't think he could be your starting center, but I mean, for the time being, who else are you going to put in there? Like Tristan Thompson? No. And I think you can get a package for De'Aaron Fox. I don't know what they're looking for because do they want to rebuild? Like, can you rebuild if you've sucked for like over 15 years and haven't made the playoffs once? Or are you trying to push for that play-in tournament because they were in the Ben Simmons discussions, but those talks collapsed. Now, I think as Knicks fans, we want to get rid of Julius Randle, and I don't think Julius Randle will be enough to snag him, but like Julius Randle, a deal centered around Julius Randle and De'Aaron Fox, in which we would get back to De'Aaron Fox. I don't think it would happen, obviously, because Julius Randle's playing piss poor, and even I don't think the Kings are that dumb to trade straight up De'Aaron Fox for Julius Randle. But man, if we get De'Aaron Fox, bro, I see a lot of people are souring on De'Aaron Fox, saying he can't shoot. He's not good off ball. And those are fair, but I'm seeing De'Aaron Fox drop 30 without shooting, bro. Like, people need to understand, Julius Randle, like, we would be blessed if we get someone like De'Aaron Fox for Julius Randle. Like, it is absurd, bro. I would love De'Aaron Fox. We finally get that young point guard. It would force Tips to play fast. Him, RJ, Mitch, him and Obi as well. And then like we could finally play Cam because I think trading Julius would like begin like a youth movement for us. Oh man, De'Aaron Fox to the Knicks is a pipe dream at the moment. I cannot believe how many people are like, so like necessarily like how are they this against De'Aaron Fox? Like I get he has flaws, but like people need to understand something, bro. Julius Randle isn't gonna get you a crazy good package anymore. Not like last year maybe, but now no. We would be lucky to get someone for Fox. We would be lucky to get someone like Fox in a package for Julius Randle. So, I mean, your thoughts on that pipe dream?
That's all it is. It's a pipe dream. Like, I don't expect this to happen at all. Like, I hope it's going to happen. I could try to make myself believe it's going to happen, but I'm not going to do that to myself because I've done that to myself enough as a Knicks fan, and I don't deserve to go through that anymore. But realistically, just talking about it, like, obviously it would be great for the Knicks, and people that are against it just don't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to me because, like, De'Aaron Fox is a better basketball player than Julius Randle, straight up. The money works both ways. Like I think De'Aaron Fox makes a few more $1 million a year, but he's a better basketball player. And at the end of the day, he's a point guard. This is a position that the Knicks have lacked since I've been alive, honestly. And they've been trying to find it and it just hasn't worked year after year. So bringing a guy like De'Aaron Fox, although he's not Steph Curry, he's not Damian Lillard, he's not one of the top point guards in the league. I think he's at that 10 to 15 range, one of the best point guards in the league. And bringing him there, you fill that void at point guard, and you could, like you said, you start that youth movement. You have all these young guys running up and down the court with pace. Him, RJ, Cam, Mitch, like it'd be a
Obi,
whole new Obi. Like you actually will have an identity to this team, and this is something I talked about a couple episodes ago when we were talking about the Knicks and their problems. And I said like their problem, one of the biggest problems now is they don't have a true identity. Like last year, they had the whole defensive identity and it
hmm
worked.
hmm
And this year, I just don't think they have any kind of identity at all. So if you were able to somehow pull this off and ship Julius Randle off and get a guy like De'Aaron Fox back, pray the heavens, because that would be incredible for the Knicks, just to get rid of Randle and just bring in a guy like De'Aaron Fox to fill that point guard position and bring a real true identity to the Knicks.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. And it's like we're not going anywhere this season. Like Tibbs needs to give up this playoff push, man. Like trade Burks. Trade. I mean, if you can trade Fournier, who I think has been playing well, so maybe that could maybe improve trade talks. Well, I mean, I don't even know what you could get for Noel at this point, but
Or
like
Kemba.
we need to give up this playoff push that we thought was a reality at the beginning of the season. Kemba, God bless him, bro, but he is donezo. He's cooked. Just man, I think people really are blinded right now because I think a young core with RJ and De'Aaron and Cam Reddish and Mitch and Obi, IQ backup. You give some minutes to Jericho Sims as a backup center. Give some minutes to Deuce McBride. I feel like people are really underestimating our young core. Like I think people are underestimating our young core, and I know our bench like does a lot to bring us back in the game. So maybe like they're not underestimating it completely, but I do think we have some solid young players, man, and I do think we should run with them. Like if you can try and trade Burks and Fournier for some like low key veterans that aren't like looking out for themselves that just need to get theirs. Like you need to get some complimentary veterans for the young guys, and I mean that's up to the front office to figure out who is perfect in that role for them. But I'm telling you, man, De'Aaron Fox, I feel like is a perfect guard for Tibbs. Like Tibbs likes those drive-in guards, those slashers, and Fox is that. And I think Tibbs could actually do well with De'Aaron Fox, and so could Johnny Bryan. I think people are like, I remember De'Aaron Fox like a few years ago was like one of the hottest young players. Everyone was like fiending for him. Apparently, he's lacking on defense when that was like one of his main strengths coming out of college. I just think he needs a change of scenery, bro. Like 5 years in Sacramento could take a toll on you, and I think that's
Yeah.
what's been happening, bro. Like he's tired of losing. Coaching changes, the culture in Sacramento. Like I think he does need to call like a change of scenery, and I'm pretty sure that man would welcome a scenic change, especially when it's New York. Um, and like him and RJ, the fit at first glance is a little redundant, but I do think they could figure it out, and I'm willing to give that a try just to like get De'Aaron Fox to the team to finally get our point guard to ship Julius Randle out. I think it's worth it. But for the Kings, say for example they don't go for Julius Randle, I'm trying to think. I don't know what the package would be, but you would need to if you're going to trade De'Aaron Fox and you trade Heald and you trade Barnes, you need to get complementary pieces to Tyrese Halliburton. Which players fit next to Tyrese Halliburton the best? And I think Tyrese Halliburton I was higher on him coming out of the draft last year than you were. But again, you didn't watch too much Tyrese coming out of college, but he I think has outplayed the expectations that a lot of people had. The shot was always a concern. I think I think he's shooting actually pretty well. It was just the form. The form was funky, and everyone's like, "Is that going to translate in the pros?" Seems like it's translating well now. He is a really good player. He should be their point guard of the future. But I mean, are there any like? Do you agree with that? That they should like center around their trade packages for De'Aaron Fox, for a Buddy Hield, for Harrison Barnes? Do you think those trade packages should focus on players that fit best next to Tyrese Halliburton?
Yeah, I do agree, but I don't think that should be their primary focus. I just think this is a team that just needs to bring in the best kind of assets, whether it's draft picks or players, as possible, no matter what position it is or no matter their skill set. I just think they need to bring any kind of the best kind of assets possible. So whether it's all draft picks and then just with expiring contracts to kind of make the money work, or whether it's young players that other teams just want to get rid of to bring in a guy like Harrison Barnes or De'Aaron Fox. Just in general, they just need to bring the best possible kind of assets and potential that they possibly can, because this team right now is honestly going nowhere. Whether they bring in guys to put in around Halliburton or not, they just need to influx of assets and talent.
Yeah, and you could definitely get something for De'Aaron Fox, and you could ski some picks from like contenders for Barnes or Heald, and I definitely think Heald to like for a contender is definitely appealing, right? And I know we talked about this before, a lot of episodes ago, but like Heald for the Lakers, like that should have been their guy, but they opted to take Russ. I don't know if it's paying out that well, but you know, who knows? Yeah, the Kings need to do something. Fire sale. I don't have that much faith in them because it is the Sacramento Kings. Prayers that we can get De'Aaron Fox out of this. If there's one team to slip up and make a dumb trade, it's them. So, and no offense to Kings fans, you guys have been suffering for so long. I don't mean to dump this all on you, but if you want to make that play-in push, Julius Randle might be the best talent you could get at this very moment to like make a 10th spot, in my opinion. I mean, that's not really a bad thing to say, right? Like, I think if you're trying to make 10th spot, you want the most talent you could get right now. And I don't
Hmm.
know. I mean, there hasn't been any smoke around the De'Aaron Fox trade besides maybe Simmons, and that didn't go anywhere. So I think is Julius Randle the next best player? From what I've read, yes. Just don't think it's going to happen. But I hope it does. But let's move on over to the NFL world. Okay. Let's talk about the conference championships. Let's talk about Rams and 49ers first. Rams beat the 49ers. I believe it was 20-17. Um, I think a lot of people were happy at this result. We were a little scared, though, because the 49ers, man, Kyle Shanahan, towards the end it was a little rocky, but he is a great schemer, bro. The defense was doing their part in shutting down that Rams offense, which is kind of difficult to do considering the weapons they have, but they did their part. They were up 17-7. We're just like, ah, man, we're getting a 49ers Bengals Super Bowl that I know you want to see, Dame, but,
The
but,
worst possible outcome.
yeah, I know. But Uh, Rams came back. Cooper Cup touchdown. I think Cooper Cup had like
Two.
two touchdowns. Yeah. Man, he is so freaking good, bro. God bless him. God bless him too. But and he made some clutch catches that didn't result in a touchdown. I think towards the end, but enough to get them within field goal range. So then Rams win it, 20-17. We could all sigh in relief. So the Rams finally make the Super Bowl. Sean McVay goes back there. Excuse me. Matt Stafford, after being in the pits of Detroit for 13 years, first year with the LA Rams, goes to the Super Bowl. Now, we won't make predictions on the Super Bowl because we'll do that next week because the Super Bowl's in 2 weeks and we want Jurg here as well. I'm happy for them. I don't think a lot of people hate on the Rams. They're a fun team to watch. Sean McVay's play calling, really good coach, but sometimes his play calling could be really infuriating. So, Dame, takeaways from the game, takeaways from the Rams winning, all that basically.
This game honestly went exactly how I pictured it to go. I said it was going to be a close game throughout. Obviously, a Niners took the lead, and end of the day, what meant to happen happened. Jimmy G got the ball at the end of the game with 2 drives in clutch situation. He went 3 and out in like 17 seconds, 3 plays. Nah, I think it was like 12 seconds, 3 plays, just 3 and out, punted back to the Rams. And then the last drive of the game, he threw a backwards interception. Like, this is exactly how I expected this game to go. Exactly how I expected Jimmy G's career with the San Francisco 49ers to end. And honestly, I'm happy because I did not want to. It's not that I hate the 49ers. I just hate teams that win with bad quarterbacks. Like, if a team's going to win, I want to see a good or great quarterback kind of take them and lead them to that way. I hate when decent or bad quarterbacks kind of get led by the team around them. I just like great things. So I like great quarterbacks when they lead their team to victory. And that's what happened with the Rams in this game because Matt Stafford played at one hell of a game. Like, obviously, he almost had that one terrible interception that was dropped by the 49ers, but all in all, I think he played an incredible game. Him and Cooper Kupp's connection is just incredible. He made some absolutely great throws in clutch time as well to lead them to victory. Like, it wasn't just that Jimmy G kind of threw the game away. Like, Stafford did his part and did what he needed to for his team to win. And here they are in the Super Bowl. And I'm so happy for him because all these years in Detroit, everyone was kind of shitting on him, saying that he's not that great of a quarterback. It's not even that it's Detroit. He's just not good because if he was good, no matter how bad the team is around him, he would lead them to victory. But Now we see first year out of Detroit, he's in the Super Bowl, and it even take him a couple years to kind of get acclimated to the system. Like he did it in year one, and I'm really happy for him. I'm really happy for McVay, and I'm gonna save my predictions and thoughts about the Super Bowl for next week. But I'm really happy they're there.
Are you happy for OBJ?
Oh yeah, yeah. OBJ as well. Like he's kind of same situation as Stafford. He was in the pits of Cleveland, and everyone's like, "Oh, OBJ's done. Like his career is over. Like he sucks now." But no, it's kind of just the situation that he was put in, and now you see him go to LA, and he's absolutely thriving in the biggest spots in the playoffs and stuff. And like, definitely happy for him because he deserves it just as much as Stafford does.
Yeah, yeah. And shout out to him. Like it was a risk signing with the Rams, right? So and it paid off for him. It paid off for him. And I think
Yep.
a Super Bowl win, of course, solidifies your legacy. But also, he's been playing so well that this is also going to revitalize his career in terms of like looking for that next contract. And maybe he'll stay with the Rams. But the Rams cap situation's a little heavy to talk about right now. But he's just enjoying the moment. You're right. Stafford, this whole playoffs has been extraordinary in my opinion. I think it was a blowout with the Cardinals, but he showed up against the Bucks, showed up against the 49ers, and if this momentum could carry, he should show up against the Bengals. He's been doing so well. Cooper Kupp has made his life easy, of course, but I do think Stafford finding him is also part of the puzzle. In terms of the 49ers, I don't like him, but he's a beast. Nick Bosa, man. Whew. It's just this Niners defense, bro. So good. Him and Fred Warner, I believe, just immaculate. And also, like, I feel so bad for Deebo Samuel. And, dude, I didn't know this, but Kittle's touchdown was, like, his first one of the playoffs.
Yeah, he's had against Dallas. He had like one catch.
I cannot believe he hasn't scored a touchdown.
Packers, like, no one caught the ball in that game.
That's true. But, like, no, in his career, though.
Well, in his career, I mean, oh, yeah, that makes sense. They haven't, I don't think they made it last year.
Well, they made it before that in 2020 and went to the Super Bowl. I was just very surprised. I'm like, Kittle, who's like a really talented offensive player, I was just very surprised. I was like, I would have thought he had one. But it was a crazy catch, though, by the way. But this also means Jimmy G is done. And the reports came out yesterday that Jimmy G and 49ers management are working on a trade partner for him. Seems like his career is over with the Niners. I don't know if they're going to go full. I don't know if they're going to be fully on board with going forward with Trey Lance or they're going to target someone else. But, I mean, that's a discussion for another episode. Should we talk about Jimmy G for a moment, or do you not want?
He's not worth talking about.
Like, okay.
Well, when we have off-season talks, we'll like kind of talk where we think he's going to go and where he fits.
You're right. And that's actually pretty soon. Point is, Jimmy D's probably done, his stint with the 49ers. A winner, but he's also a loser, if that makes sense. Like, he's both. Mm-hmm. Jurg could probably describe it better than I can. All right, let's move on over to the AFC Championship game where the Bengals upset the Chiefs 27-24. Dame, I don't want to talk about this. I didn't want to talk about this, but we have to. We have to. The Bengals are going to the Super Bowl. I can't believe I'm saying this, right? And I remember before the game, I was like, if somehow the Chiefs lose, I wouldn't be that mad because I love Joe Burrow, right? And if Mahomes is going to lose, screw it. Why not to Joe Burrow, right? Everyone loves Joe Burrow. We see the first half, and I believe it was 21-3, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Masterclass performance by Mahomes in that first half. And you're just watching him, and like he's in the zone, or just like, yo, this is over. Like, if the dude's caught fire. And it was the play before the half ended.
I don't know what happened in the locker room. I don't know what happened at halftime.
Well, let's talk about it. So the play before the half, they were third and down. They were right near the end zone. And, they had time to kick the field goal. And I think Andy Reid was bringing out the punting unit, but Mahomes was like, no, I got this. And Reid was like, all right, go for it. They don't get it on fourth down. Half's over. I don't know if it was fourth down or just time expired.
It was third down and time expired.
Okay, all right, there you go. Thank you. And so then, they didn't get the touchdown. They didn't get the field goal. They should have went for the field goal. The field goal would have put them up 24-3, which would have been enough.
Yeah.
Which would have they would have scored before the half, but they didn't. But if they did score that field goal, that would have been enough for them to win with the field goal at the end. But I don't want to talk about ifs, right? So they don't score at all. And Damien tweeted that like the play before the half has a big possibility in how
It changes
it
so many
changed the game.
games, bro.
It could dictate how the game is going to go forward. So that doesn't happen. It weirdly enough, it gives the Bengals life. So then the second half comes, and Joe Burrow, who had a mediocre first half, him and Mahomes just switched places. Where Burrow was exceptional in that second half, and Mahomes shrank. He melted. He collapsed. He choked. And I can't believe that I'm saying that about him because I would never expect that from him. Now, we could blame, I think most of the blame is going to go on Mahomes. It's going to go on Andy Reid as well. I think mostly Mahomes, though. I think he's the culprit here. But we have to give credit to the Bengals defense, man. They adjusted. And I think they went, correct me if I'm wrong, Dame, but they went to man-on-man coverage mostly in the second half.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think it was, I cannot believe how much they shut them down in the second half. And once they got that first touchdown, I'm just like, all right, here we go. It's, you need a score because that one touchdown, especially for a young team like the Bengals, could open up, all possibilities here. They're hungry, and then the defense is like getting them hyped because they're getting stops. The momentum completely shifted. Mahomes had a pick. That pick was awful, man. Like, that was the first half of the season, Mahomes' pick. And once that happened, I'm like, oh, God. I'm like, this is going to be tied. They tied. They go to overtime, and I think it was before the clock expired of the actual game in the fourth quarter. They were near the end zone, and just Mahomes, a lot of lollygaggling, man. Like, he was just... It was weird because like the O-line, it was a specific play. Yeah, it was towards the end. I think it was their last play before they just went for the field goal. Where the O-line gave him so much protection, he had so much time. I don't know if he had anyone open, but like he could have ran it in a bit, right? But he didn't, and then like he was kind of goofing around. He wasn't goofing around, but it's just like he should have just like kind of gone for it himself from what I saw. And then Damon, you could like confirm or deny, but he gets sacked. He almost turns the ball over. They recover. They go for the field goal. Goes into overtime. They win the coin toss, and a lot of people are just like, "Oh, of course they win the coin toss. They're gonna win." But bro, I remember they won the coin toss. But I'm like, dude, they've been playing so sus. I do not think they're gonna score here a touchdown. I don't think they're gonna score a touchdown at least. Then Mahomes turns it over. Bengals get it at a very favorable position on the field. They win via the field goal. So Dame, talk to me. Talk to me about what happened in the second half. Am I right saying that Mahomes was kind of dilly-dallying a bit in that last possession that would have led to a touchdown since they were near the end zone? Am I wrong on that? Am I right? What happened to Mahomes? What does this mean going forward for them? What does this mean for Mahomes' legacy? But also, let's not take away from the Bengals. This is huge for them. Bengals win the Super Bowl. What does this mean for them? Takeaways from this game, takeaways for the Burrows, they could call them the Burrows, but takeaway for the Bengals going forward, and, how can they carry this momentum going to the Super Bowl against a very good defense? Not necessarily predictions, but, like, what does this momentum and this win against, one of the best teams in the NFL do for them as they play another tough team in the Rams?
I mean, it was just a disappointing result for me. And for all of us, we all had the Chiefs winning. We all kind of wanted Mahomes in another Super Bowl to kind of build on his legacy. And the first half all looked great. Like, we all thought we were going to get what we wanted with the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and then we just kind of got to wait on the Niners and Rams. But then the 2-3 plays before halftime, it wasn't just one play. It was they were at the 1 yard line with like 3 plays to go, and they just couldn't get it done. And instead of running a play that could be either incomplete and stop the clock, or kind of just kick the field goal before even running that play, they became low-key kind of selfish and kind of threw it to Tyreek Hill behind the line of scrimmage. So behind where they started with the ball, and kind of hope he could outrun the cornerback to the edge and score. So I think they should have just kicked the field goal, but then if they are going to go for it, they should have went a more conservative route with a play that has Mahomes throwing it into the end zone. So therefore, if he throws it incomplete, it stops the clock, you still get to kick the field goal. But no, they decided to throw like a swing pass to Tyreek Hill behind the line of scrimmage, and he couldn't even get out of bounds. And there you go, the time runs out, and then going into halftime, the Bengals have all the momentum coming out the half. and they rolled that momentum the entire second half. Whether it was their defense or their offense, they rolled that, and they worked out for them, obviously. And then as for Mahomes, I really don't know what happened. I don't know if it was that kind of sequence before halftime or something happened in the locker room at halftime. But man, coming out the second half, I don't know who was playing quarterback. I don't know who possessed his soul, but that wasn't the same Patrick Mahomes as it was in the first half. What he was doing in the first half was spectacular, and we're all talking about how incredible he's been in this postseason. How he's on the way to become the greatest, on the way to having one of the best postseason performances from start to finish. If he could finish it off in the Super Bowl ever, and then second half, like he just looked off. Whether it was throwing the ball, whether it was moving around the pocket, whether it was decision making, all of it, I don't know where it went. Like you say, he's kind of lollygagging in the pocket, and then especially on that last drive before the overtime. Although he did, I think the Bengals played really prevent defense to prevent a touchdown. Like they're okay with going to a field goal and going into overtime, but they just didn't want Patrick Mahomes to win it with a touchdown there at the end. So I think they kind of dropped everyone into coverage and just were going to settle with a field goal. But Patrick Holmes almost turned the ball over, and that would have been absolutely disastrous. He has to be a lot more careful there. He should not be turning his back to the defense or being so loose with the football. And he lost like 15 yards on the play. Like, worst case scenario, just throw the ball away. Do not risk any kind of turnover, or like Chris said, you should just run it by yourself for a yard or two, whatever it may be, and set yourself up for an easier field goal, because at the line of scrimmage, it would have been like a 25, 30-yard field goal, and he turned it into a 48-yard field goal. Like, granted, the Harrison Butker didn't make the field goal, but he made it a lot tougher for him. And that's just a situation that Patrick Mahomes can't put his team in, especially his kicker in. And like I said, I just don't know who played quarterback for that second half, because it was not the same quarterback that we've seen throughout these playoffs and in that first half of that game. And as for overtime, like after that first throw, he threw it like a 5-yard pass to DeMarcus Robinson and went like 3 feet over his head. And I'm like, all right, this is not good at all. Like, I'm not confident at all in this. And then obviously he threw the pick to Tyreek Hill. I saw the idea he had, but honestly, at the end of the day, Bengals played really good defense on that play, and that's why it led to a pick. Maybe if Tyreek Hill was a couple inches bigger, he could have put his hands on it and maybe made a play. But if he doesn't put himself in that situation, 3rd and 10, he doesn't have to take a shot that far down the
Uh-huh.
field. So at the end of the day, I think most of it comes down to Patrick Mahomes. I think he's most to blame. I'm someone who puts a lot of praise in Patrick Mahomes. I think he's on the way to being one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, if not the greatest, and probably the most talented quarterback to ever play the position. But when he deserves his blame, I'm going to give him his blame, and I think this loss goes on him absolutely. I don't care what kind of man coverage the Bengals played or what they switched to. Like, their defense isn't elite. It's not one of the best in the league. It's not like the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl last year, where like you kind of shut Patrick Mahomes down because you just play great defense because of the playmakers you have. The Bengals don't have that. And I just think Patrick Mahomes, as great as he is, he should have figured out a way to kind of get it done. And as for the Bengals, congratulations to them, but I think this is more on the Chiefs losing the game than it
Yeah.
was the Bengals winning it.
Uh-huh.
Joe Burrow, I don't think played great. I think if you kind of balance out the first and second half, I think he was equal to Patrick Mahomes. But I don't think he went out there and won that game for them. I don't think he went out. He didn't go out and throw 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, or anything like that. Like, I just think that Bengals defense did what they had to do. Patrick Mahomes shrunk and choked, and that's what it was. I'm gonna save obviously my predictions for next week. But as for this game, like, I just don't think the Bengals went out and kind of won it for themselves. I think it was more the Chiefs losing it.
Yeah. I want to give Burrow credit because, yeah, he didn't go for 400 yards, but he did a lot of, like, small things to put
Yeah,
them in
he
that
broke out of a
position.
lot of like sacks in a big time situation from like Frank Clark and Chris Jones. Like, those are big situations where you kind of see, like, you kind of think, oh, this is where the Chiefs are going to turn around. Big sack, like to get the ball back in Patrick Mahomes' hands, and then you see Joe Burrow out of nowhere just get out of the sack and then make a play down the field.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, you got to give credit to him. And I just feel like it was a whole team effort, in my opinion, to win this whole game, obviously. And I don't want to sound like cringe or like, generic, but I think Burrow, the fact that he wasn't trying to be spectacular, he kind of took it step by step, little by little, for them to eventually tie it, and then of course you win it. But I think he was exceptional in making small plays that had big impacts, in my opinion. Again, getting out of those 2 sacks, you got to give credit to him and how he plays in the pocket. He did throw a pick in that second half, but I think overall, I do think the second half he played really well, in my opinion, and I think it's going to go a little bit unnoticed. But I do think you're right because, well, I don't even know if it goes unnoticed because everyone's praising Joe Burrow, and rightfully so. But you're right. I do think this is more of a Chiefs L than it is a Bengals W. But we're happy for them. We don't know if it's going to get easier in the next matchup, which is a Super Bowl matchup. But look, they got their Bengals. I'm happy for the fans because it's been a lifetime. And look, Burrow's on his way. Like if he does win, like he won that championship in college, got hurt this first year, Super Bowl the next year. It's been a crazy 3 years, and he's on his way to greatness. He's already there, but man, beating Mahomes in the playoffs, he did. It's in the record books. He did beat Mahomes in the playoffs. I think this is a pro Mahomes podcast, but yeah, like Dame said, we have to criticize him when we have to, and we have to because that was a very poor second half performance that led to an L. Do you put how much blame do you put on Andy Reid though, if any?
I mean, like I said, I think he does deserve a share of the blame because he, like I said before halftime, he could have came up with a better play call, not just the one play, but the couple plays, and maybe he could have gave Mahomes easier play calls when the Bengals adjusted the defense in the second half. But like I said, I just personally put most of the blame on Mahomes because how great he is. I kind of have higher expectations for him
Yeah.
than I do have for Andy Reid, and that's kind of why I put more of the blame on Mahomes and Reid.
Yeah, you're right. Mostly Mahomes though. All right, Dame. Let's move on over to NFL awards predictions. Next week, the NFL awards will come out. Um, MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year, and Coach of the Year. Where do you want to start off at? You want to start off with Comeback Player of the Year?
Yeah.
You want to go Joe Burrow?
No, I don't have Joe Burrow.
Who do you have?
I have Dak Prescott.
Oh, okay. Well, I have Joe Burrow. Why do you have? Go ahead.
I have Dak Prescott. I think he started the season off better, and I just think Joe Burrow probably had a better like middle of the season, but I think Dak Prescott finished stronger. And at the end of his stats look better. I know Joe Burrow missed that last game, but he did miss the last game, man. Dak Prescott went out and threw for 5 touchdowns in the last game, so I kind of think that boosted his stock in this kind of award more. And just the fact that he's a Cowboy, I think, really plays into this as well. It's just the whole media wants a Cowboy, obviously, to talk about, and I think that's going to help him with this award as well. And just the way that he did get hurt and how emotional that was, I think that plays in his favor as well when it comes to the comeback player of the year compared to Joe Burrow, where it's kind of just like his offensive line sucks, and that's why I kind of got hurt and wrecked. So that's why I got Dak.
Okay. All right. Well, I have Joe Burrow, and maybe it's recency bias, but yeah. Let's move on over to Coach of the Year. I'm just gonna say mine. And again, Damien's input's way more important than mine because he actually knows what he's talking about. I'm gonna go Zach Taylor. Bengals had a really good season. I had a good season this year, but really good for their standards. They made it to the Super Bowl. A lot of things went in their way, especially with that division because Ravens suffered a lot of injuries. The Browns also. The Browns were a mess as well. Just a lot of things were in their favor, but you got to give advantage. You got to give credit to them because they took advantage. And I mean, Bengals are back, man. They're back to being a decent team. Like we didn't think they'd go to the Super Bowl, but I do think they're back to being a good team, and I do think Zach Taylor isn't the best coach, but you have to take into account where they are now in this award. So I'm gonna go with Zach Taylor for this one.
Yeah, I have Zach Taylor as my runner-up, but as the winner, I have Matt LaFleur from the Green Bay Packers.
Ooh.
Like I know it doesn't just go automatically to the team that had the best record, but they did have the best record. And I think just with all the offseason drama that the Packers had to deal with Aaron Rodgers, like Matt LaFleur had to get the team ready, whether Aaron Rodgers is coming back or not. And just with the team kind of knowing that this is going to be Aaron Rodgers' last run, like he had to have his team ready to go and make sure they're all playing for one another. And he had them going, whether it was the defense or the offense. Like both units were one of the top units in the league. I think a lot of that credit goes to him because he's the one that makes all the major decisions, and he had his team ready game in and game out to lead them to the best record in the league. Obviously, it didn't work out in the postseason, but this is a regular season award, and I think in the regular season he was the best coach in the league.
Okay, might be a controversial pick to some, but You have some good picks there. All right, defensive rookie of the year. Dame, who you got for this one?
Defensive rookie of the year, I think, is pretty easy. It's Michael Parsons.
Mm-hmm.
This is just based off the fact he was not only the best defensive rookie, but yeah, although credit to Patrick Surtain of the Denver Broncos, like he was pretty elite as well, but he was just as good. He was just probably better than most rookies. But Michael Parsons was among the best defensive players in general in the entire league, not just rookies. Like he was up there with T.J. Watt, Miles Garrett, guys like that are the best defensive players in general in the entire league. Like I don't know if I have him as defensive player of the year. We're gonna have to wait and see with that prediction in a couple minutes. But all in all, like he was just one of the best defensive players in the league, and he's gonna be one of the best defensive players in the league for years to come.
Yeah, I also agree. I'm gonna go with Micah Parsons here. I do think he was the standout in that Cowboys defense, and I think he is probably the main reason why it was respectable this year. Well, and you got to give Trayvon Diggs some credit there as well. But I do think Micah Parsons was that guy. All right, let's move on over to defensive player of the year. Can we agree? Unanimous? T.J. Watt.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
You want to elaborate, or you want to
Just
just?
quickly, he tied the sack record. Obviously that was with an extra game, but you got to know that I think TJ Watt missed 2 games. So even if you just take that extra game away and make him play that one game, like 16 games, he would have got the sack record one way or another. But I don't even think it comes down to the numbers. It's just if you watch the Steelers play, obviously their quarterback play wasn't great, so you're now watching for their offense. But when you're watching them on defense and like the close games they did win, they won mostly on defense and they won mostly because TJ Watt's making that big play to end the game. And that's where I think set him aside from these other defensive players. I think just the fact that he was making these big game changing plays just off one player, I think that's what makes him defensive player of the year.
Yes, well said, well said. Um, okay, offensive player of the year. Can we all agree? Cooper Cup, who made history this
Yes,
year.
I actually thought you were gonna go Jonathan Taylor, but
No,
yes, I have Cooper Cup as well. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor is just as deserving. Well, not just as deserving, but you could make a case for Jonathan Taylor because he had an incredible season carrying that Colts team. Maybe if they made the playoffs, you kind of have a better argument because you could just say Jonathan Taylor by himself led them to the playoffs. But man, Cooper Cup with the triple crown or most receptions in the league, most receiving yards, most touchdowns. Like, there's really no other argument. Like Cooper Cup is the offensive player of the year by far.
did we do offensive rookie of the year?
No, we skipped it.
Okay. Can we all agree? Jamar
Jamar
Chase.
Chase.
Okay.
Yes, but
Oh.
people no, it's not me, but I know people are gonna go for Mac Jones, and I'm just gonna make an argument against it because he sucks. The Patriot he was the reason the Patriots weren't as good as a team as they should have been because if they had a legit quarterback in there, like they could have been an absolutely dangerous team in that playoffs. But Mac Jones is the reason they weren't. Like if you had to pick one game to show you why Mac Jones isn't good and why he's not the offensive rookie of the year, it's that game that they won against the Bills where he threw the ball 3 times and they won the game. Like that should show you why he's not the offensive rookie of the year and why he's not this guy that a lot of people make him out to be. Like sure you could say he's a winner at Alabama. Sure you could say he won a few games at with the Patriots, but for no reason at all was he the man and the reason that they Alabama won or why the Patriots won. So he is not the rookie of the year. And please, voters, they should know this. They should see Jamar Chase and see the impact he makes because he was arguably one of the best receivers in the league without the whole rookie status. So Jamar Chase should absolutely be the runaway rookie of the year.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I agree as well. All right. Here we go. MVP. Dame. This is a toss up in my opinion. It's
I
either
think it's
Brady
also
or
unanimous.
Rodgers. It's either Brady or Rodgers, but I'm gonna have to go with Brady.
Wow,
Unfortunately.
really?
Yeah.
Listen, I hope you're right because in midseason I put some money on Brady winning MVP and I had really good odds on it. But I just think that Aaron Rodgers is going to get the award. Deserving, I think is really like 50-50. You go either way, but I think Aaron Rodgers is going to get it because they see that he had the best record. They see all the drama he had to deal with, and I know some reporters came out that said they're not going to vote for him because of the drama, but I think most reporters are going to see it and be like, "Wow, he overcame all the stuff that the Packers had to deal with, and he didn't like pout about it. He didn't like not play his hardest. Like he went in every single week and gave it his all and led his team to the best record in the league. Although it didn't work out in the playoffs, like I said with the Coach of the Year award, like this is a regular season award, And end of the day, he did have the best touchdown to interception ratio again. I think he only threw like 4 picks compared to like 35 touchdowns. He obviously had the best record in the league. And end of the day, I think this would be nice going away present, I guess, for him to get that MVP. But yeah.
All right. Yeah, Jurg just texted me his picks actually. Right on cue. MVP he has Tom Brady because they'll give it to him on the way out. Those are his words.
Listen, I hope Tom Brady gets it. I'd rather win money than to be right on
How
this
much would you
show.
win? How much would you win?
400. I
And how much
50,
did you put? Oh,
50
now.
on a 50 on a plus 800. But
All right. Okay. I mean, I hope you win because I want you to get money, bro. I want you to get money.
thank you. I need it.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, he has Jamar Chase. Defensive Rookie of the Year, he has Micah Parsons. Offensive Player of the Year, he has Cooper Kupp. Defensive Player of the Year, he has TJ Watt. Coach of the Year, he has Zach Taylor. So Dame, great job, bro.
Ganging up on me, huh?
Dude, you could have made this a hat trick with all the picks, but you had to go with LaFleur. Whatever, bro.
And
All right,
Rodgers.
sure. Yeah, so that's it for this week. A really stacked week. Me and Dame had to hold the fort down because our main player was out because he gets his well-earned rest. So Dame, I guess it was fun this week. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would. Yeah, Dame, where can they find us on the socials actually?
Somewhat Sports on Instagram.
This man, SomeWhatSports, bro. Jesus,
bro, I don't know it off the top of my head. This is not my job. Like, you should know this. Don't you run it?
Yeah, but I want to. No, Jurg runs it, but I want to give you an opportunity. Whatever. Yeah. So you can find us on you can find us on Instagram, somewhat.sports. We do all kinds of stuff there. We put in graphics, predictions. It really gives us a chance to explore our creative side in the editing department. So yeah, check us out there. Hope you guys subscribe to our YouTube page, and we'll be on certain platforms soon. You know, it's just a little sneak peek. We won't say anything, but next week when Jurg comes back, we'll have more details for y'all. But you can find us on Instagram, somewhat.sports. Like, comment, subscribe on this vid and any previous vids. And yeah, next week will be our can't even speak. Next week will be our Super Bowl predictions. That's right, Jurg will be back. Super Bowl predictions is just a big episode, major Bengals Rams, baby. We'll have all the discussions about it. And yeah, that'll be it for this week. Dame, thank you as always for your expert analysis. And until next time, peace.
Peace.